And since we may be light on callers, is it Joe?
Yeah.
How you doing, Joe?
We'd like to
Good.
desperately cling to every caller we get today.
We love you, Joe.
I'd like to have either one of you discuss the particular college, I believe, that is seeking accreditation for their science course in creationism.
Yeah, the Institute for Creation Research. It's not really accreditation. They've requested certification to present master's degrees. Essentially, is what they're asking for. So it's not the same as accreditation, but
How is it different from accreditation? Because my understanding is you can say you've got an you've got a master's degree and it comes from the Texas system in some way.
But because that would be a university that has received accreditation. This is a special exemption which they have to renew every 2 years. Mm-hmm. And they will, if they're approved, I'm sure they'll continue to renew it every 2 years. We actually talked about this with the Texas Citizens for Science. CFI put together a discussion, and I was there, and some other ACA folks, some other CFI folks were there to talk about this. There's a lot going on. You've got the firing of Chris Comer, essentially. You've got a Board of Education of 15, where 7 of them are creationists and or young Earth creationists who are actively opposed to teaching evolution in school without also including creationism. You've got the Texas science standards that are currently up for review, and I think we'll hear more about that as we get closer to November. And now you've got the Institute for Creation Research, which tried to get accreditation in California and in other places and failed, and now they've come to Texas, and what they're seeking is approval from I've forgotten the name of the organization, but the legislature has set up a body that investigates and recommends whether or not schools should be accredited. And ICR is not seeking actual accreditation. They're seeking approval of this organization to allow them to grant master's degrees, essentially. It ends up working out kind of the same. And what part of the thing is, I'd be happy with them granting master's degrees in creation studies. I have no objection to that any more than I'd have an objection to biblical studies or anything else. What they're talking about, though, is they're offering a master's degree in science studies, and they're wanting to specifically label it, and I don't have the pages in front of me with what they're looking at. They want to label it in such a way that it appears to be a legitimate degree from a legitimate accredited university. Their purpose is to get these people in who are fundamentalist Christians. The ICR has really specific doctrinal requirements for students, right down to what their views are on the age of the earth and homosexuality as an abomination. These are things that the students have to make a profession of in order to be a student there. And then they're going to offer them a degree in science. And by the way, I hear an echo. And specifically tailored so that these people can then be qualified to go and teach in public schools. And I think that's what we're really talking about. This is kind of a way to pull an end around on the system and get more creationist-friendly teachers into the school system.
Right, and I've actually mentioned before that this is kind of a common tactic that creationists are using these days, which is that if they can't get taken seriously within the system, then they'll create their own system and claim that it's just as legitimate. Like, they're a common criticism of creationism is that there aren't any peer-reviewed articles in scientific journals, so they made their own journalism journal called Ex Nihilo, I think, or Creation Ex Nihilo or something like that. And in it, they publish their own articles and they review each other's work. And any time that you see a new creationist book coming out, you'll always see the usual gang of suspects: Michael Behe, William Dembski, those guys. Praising the book in the blurb. So it's like, they've created their own sort of shadow academic respectability on their own.
Can I comment?
Sure.
Well, having been raised a Catholic and having seen the inherent corruption in all of it, someone will brainwashing. See?
Okay.
And that's about all I have to ask.
Okay.
All right.
Because it's all so much voodoo to me.
Well, I think, and we'll go ahead and let you go now and get back to what Russell was talking about, because I think
But
it
hey,
kind of ties in.
thanks.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
the
you.
call.
Sure.